Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome to the Indian Boxer Ring exclusive. Our guest today is Kimberly Pastella Kelvaka. Kim, in short. Kim needs very little or maybe no introduction if you have been following boxers. For those who don't know Kim, Kim is an AKC registered professional handler, licensed to handle all breeds. Kim has also been showing dogs for over 4 decades and has been instrumental in showcasing dogs, which we now call as legends, or which we term as legends. Kim is also the handler who has won the most best of breeds at the ABC Nationals, more times than anybody else. Um, and I think when I was asking Kim about how many Best in shows she's won, she said she stopped counting that a long time back. So she's got a lot of them under her belt. So Kim has also mentored a lot of breeders over the years in different breeds, in helping them start with their breeding program or in helping them progress in their breeding program. Kim also has judged sweepstakes, many sweepstakes, and the American Boxer Club Top 20. She has conducted a lot of seminars and knowledge transfer sessions all over the world, Mexico, Canada, Italy, Scotland, UK, and she's also judged a few shows out there as well at the Mexican Boxer Club specialty as well. It's On the breeding front, Kim also does breed dogs, miniature pinschers, under the Kim Rowe prefix. So that's, I think I can go on and on and on. There's so much of information that I can tell about Kim, but again, that's not what you tuned in for. You tuned in to listen to Kim share her journey herself. And so without any further ado, I want to welcome Kim to the Indian Boxer Ring exclusive. How are you doing, Kim?
Good, thank you. And hello to everybody out there. I'm excited about talking to everybody today about something that's my passion. And I'm excited. I'm excited for you to know more about me, what you don't know, and it'll be a fun day.
All right, wonderful, Kim. I don't think you can have a better or better weekend after Christmas. If you're somebody with no dog shows to go to, well, at least you wouldn't have dog shows in the month of December. But at least you will have Kim, an opportunity to listen to Kim. So Kim, my first question to you is, how did you get involved with dogs? Was that a family connection? What was the reason that you got involved in dogs? And my second part of the question is, did you have any mentors when you started out?
Okay. Well, I got into dogs through my grandparents. My grandparents got into dogs for their kids, and my aunt was a junior hand. My mom and my aunt were junior handlers. My aunt was best junior handler at the Garden in 1962, with a boxer, of course, and that was their first breed. And then it kind of just trickled down the line to me. And then I started showing in junior handling, but prior to being able to show in juniors, you have to be 9 years of age. I would go to shows and I enjoyed it and couldn't wait for the day when I turned 9 years old to get in that ring. I did a little bit of showing. I mean, kids didn't go in the ring very often before they were 9 years old. You maybe could sneak in, but, it was taboo back in that day to have a little kid in the ring, in the all breed confirmation ring. So I started off in juniors and tried every year to get to Westminster. You needed like 10 wins to get to Westminster. And I showed my boxer, of course. And I never made it to Westminster in junior handling. But, as you all know, I made it to Westminster when it counted. I've won 2 working group 1s at Westminster. But let me just go back a little bit. I remember in those days when I was growing up and you would go to dog shows, they were 2-day weekends. So a lot of times my grandfather worked Monday through Friday, and we would do the weekend shows. It wasn't Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every weekend back then. You know, you'd have a show maybe twice a month, and my grandfather would leave bright and early in the morning, like say, get up at 4 o'clock, leave by 5, get up at 3. And there I would be sitting at the top of the steps right before he left, ready to go. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm ready to go to the show with you, Pop. I'm going to the show. Oh, okay, come on. And I would jump in the truck and go. And so then, like I said, it became junior handling, and didn't succeed well at that, but making the numbers to get into Westminster. But as I said, I made it when it counted, and I've won. I'm not good with counting because I cherish every minute of every win, but it's not about the numbers. It's about the great memories. It's about the great wins. But I've won the breed and boxers there probably 8 or maybe 8 times. And of course, that's a big show to win. But so that's where it all began. And then I just started showing on the class level when I got into my teens. And I graduated high school, and I was still showing dogs and finishing dogs. And then went to college. And then my grandfather took ill, and he had this #1 boxer that everybody, of course, knows, Cachet. And so I started campaigning her after he, had a heart attack. And then, I graduated college, and I thought about it, and, it's my passion. It's what I enjoy doing is making and breeding and raising beautiful boxers and dogs of, that I put in the ring, and I can say, hey, I brought this to fruition. You see a vision, and, you start out with something, and you say to somebody, this is a beautiful dog, but if you're going to be in this the long run, we got to take it to the next level. And
Right.
So that's where I started getting involved in guiding breeding programs and seeing beautiful dogs come to fruition. Sometimes, you evaluate the puppies. Well, we'll get to that. You're going to talk about puppies
Yes.
and stuff like that.
Yes. So I know that you are, you describe your family setting. You are in a family, born in a family which has shown dogs for a few generations, and of course you had your uncle.
Actually, my grandfather.
Your grandfather. Sorry.
My grandfather was Chick, and he was my mentor.
Right.
For sure. Right. Taught me everything I know. All the, how to be a good sport. I can remember him saying, well, if you can't take losing, get out of the game, because you're going to lose more than you're going to win. Right. So that's why you cherish the days when you win. Right.
True. So in terms of in terms of your early memories or your first best in show win that you had, what was that the pinnacle? Was that the moment you decided this is what I'm going to do this is what I'm good at, and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
One other thing we didn't discuss was another mentor of mine, which was everybody's mentor, was Jane Forsyth. And I used to watch her. I'd help her hold dogs when she needed, somebody to hold dogs. So she was another person who I admired and learned a lot from and got a lot out of. Now, getting to the best in show, let me think where my first best in show was. I don't know that it was the first best in show that made the difference, to be honest. What I enjoyed that really got me into it, of course, I love the breed. I love the dogs. I love being around them. That's one of my best times, is just enjoying the dog, just enjoying the boxer. That, he's right behind you, snorting and carrying on, and the character in them. And I love it. And I like to get out there in the ring and present beautiful dogs, win or lose, getting in there and doing a great performance. And of course, winning is the pinnacle. But it was the people, the dogs, the people, the energy at the dog shows that I enjoyed. Of course, everybody loves to go best in show. Of course they do. But it's more than just best in show for me. I've had lots of memorable winners dogs at the national, winners bitches. I remember when the boxer circuit, we'd all gear up to go, and there were big sweepstakes before the national and stuff like that. That's what did it for me, and the people that I met and the competitions.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, of course, I mean, everybody enjoys going best in show. But sometimes, you get this big breed win and you say, oh my God, I just won this amazing breed win, oh my God, with a newer dog that you haven't made yet. And you're like, great, this made my day. If I don't do anything else today, this is great. But, it's very important to have the best in the breed first. And
Right.
then, everything else is icing on the cake, to be honest. When
True.
you win an entry of 30 or 40 or 100 boxers, specials, I mean, that's a great feeling.
Absolutely.
And then you hope, you go on to the next level and all your boxer people will be right there supporting the boxer, supporting the breed and watching that go on to best in show.
True.
So it's not about me. It's about the boxer.
Of course. Now, but it's also about you, and that's that's what we want to know. People want to know about you, and that's what we tuned in for. Now, Kim, you and as in the first thing that anybody learns in showing dogs is the dog can feel how comfortable you are or how comfortable you are not. Meaning the dog can sense, what you're, how you're feeling that day. Now, you are a very competitive person, right? Like, for example, you've been winning dogs for many, many years. So for the benefit of people that are watching this, there is a right mindset that you have, when you actually are showing a dog, you are in that zone, or they call it the Zen zone, you get into that mindset.
Yes,
So
you do.
what is the first thing on your mind? What's the first thing on your mind when you enter the ring? Are you in a different zone? What is your thought process like?
Yes, I'm just totally in tuned with the dog. Like everybody around me doesn't exist. It's just me and my dog. And we are just out there like dancing with the stars, putting on your performance. Whether, you're a gymnast, you want to put on the most beautiful floor routine, and it's me and my dog. And, they're all good when you're getting those big events. It's a matter of showing off your dog's best attributes and catching the judge's eye with the dog who has the best attributes. It's not just about putting on a floor show. You've got to have a good dog. You've got to start with that. And I like when somebody presents a dog to see the dog, not the handler. I want to see that dog shine. Let me see if I'm judging which dog to me shines and meets the standard the closest. I don't want to see the handler. I want to see the dog. And that's what I try to do, is do a nice presentation and respectful of my peers that I'm competing against, not get in their way in order to present my dog, which is important, which we'll talk about later in your handling techniques.
Mm-hmm. True. No, I know that, breeders, I've heard this term, breeders say this, they say once in a lifetime dog, they say that term to describe a dog which actually had not just the phenotype, but also the mind that actually went with the phenotype. The dog that actually in the head knew how to actually, how to show themselves. Now, my question is not that, because you actually start the puppy really young. You actually start them, you evaluate the puppy, you decide the puppy, and then you train the puppy, you introduce the puppy to the show ring. In this process, you also come across puppies who could be shy, puppies that could be aggressive, puppies which could be outgoing. How do you actually manage to keep them focused when you have them inside the ring?
You know what? That is a very good question. And a lot of times I will see puppies in the whelping box that, are, outgoing, but then there's one I really like, and it's going to start back in the whelping box a lot of times. And I'll say, I love that puppy. That's your pokey little puppy. You've got to work extra hard on that one. You know, the other one is really outgoing. You've got to work extra hard on that one. Obviously, sometimes I don't get to see them that early, you know, at the early stage of life. And then I got my work cut out for me. There's no doubt about it. But you know what? I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You know, you see a beautiful boxer that needs a little extra help, a little extra work. You send it my way. And when you tell me I can't, I'll show you how I can. And I just work it. You know, I brought many dogs around that were a little bit off, without a doubt. Or sometimes you get one that's a toughie, but you work through it. Sometimes I have to take a deep breath and just hold my nose and say, let me see if I can make this happen. But I never give up. You know, you have to see a beautiful animal and make it happen. And, you know, get it out there. And it's very important with those people raising puppies, but we can get to that in another point, is, you know, temperament is 3/4 of the battle. Mm. You know, right. Showmanship is important. There's no doubt about it. And so, you know, you've got to, I don't give up on dogs. I mean, I never do. I give it 110%. And most of the time I can bring them around.
Right.
But it'd be nicer if we start earlier. If we get all these puppies earlier, but and I'm fortunate enough and lucky enough that the clients that I work with and the breeders that I work with a lot of times show me the puppies right on. You know, I see them before. Some of them I'm the one guiding the breeding program saying, do this, do this. So then, of course, I want to be there like that saying, let me look in that box and see what we have here. Let's get that baby going.
Right. True. So Kim, you know, in terms of, you know, I stated this in my introduction, and you have been behind some legendary dogs over the years. You know, some of the dogs I can actually count, and maybe I would actually count, you know, need no more than 10 fingers to count the number of legendary dogs you've shown. But you've seen these dogs. Do you see a common quality in them, you know, in terms of course, you know, they were in terms of the phenotype, that's one. But was there a common quality that they had, you know, between the years, which actually made them win?
Yes. A lot of, you know, most of the ones that you've seen me show, which has been generations of the high-tech boxers, have all had that stamina to say, pick me. They just had that boxer attitude there. You know, very outgoing, and that's what makes it happen in the ring. Right. For like 5 or 6 generations. I mean, most of the dogs that were my big campaign dogs, almost all of them came down line from the high-tech line. They're, you know, direct generations. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Kim, could you actually, of course, your association with the Truesdales is actually been the most fruitful, I would say, in terms of you know, the handler and the breeder association. How did that come about?
Oh, that's a good question, an easy question, and then we'll also get into why it's lasted so long and stuff like that. But I was like 18 years old and I was at a dog show. And I mean, they'd been following me. I had a couple of I had a bitch that won part of the futurity. I had started right before it was before I started showing Cachet, but they saw me out there showing a lot of dogs and they admired them and they picked me. They said, you know what? This girl has potential. And of course, back in the day, you had all the big handlers out there, you know, that they could have chosen. And they chose me. And like I said, I was probably 18 years old and they saw the potential in me. And they said, you know what, we're going to give this girl a try and see where we can go with her. And of course, they had used Jane Forsyth in the day. And they had also used Carmen in the day. Because keep in mind, Bill had been in dogs since the 60s. And his family had a handler back in Michigan, And then he married Tina, and they chose boxers again to be the breed they were going to continue together with, and develop the high-tech breeding program, of which I've been fortunate to be there from when the first high-tech dog put its first step in the ring. But, we bought some dogs together and started out and finished them, and they had a good time. They probably finished, four or five dogs that they bought, and they decided they really liked this and they wanted to get into this long term. And so we got them a dog back in the day called Fiero's Talihotelo, which many of you know, and he's legendary in the breed as far as producing and Legion of Merit and stuff like that. So we got that dog, and he was beautiful. Of all the dogs we had to choose from out there, that dog was a hot dog in the day, and he was being shown by his breeder. It was in the day of Jack Ireland, and everybody would be in, at this time of year, as a matter of fact, we would all be down in Cleveland, Ohio at the big show, and this dog was there. And, we reached out to the owner and said, you know what, we want this dog. And then next spring came, and it was ABC weekend, and he had a lot of successes, and we specialed him, and he was, here you go with the first best in show, that I won on a dog that I brought from championship, from puppy to championship to the specials world. And he won his first best in show, and he did nicely. He was a top 5 boxer, but we were looking for more than that. And I said, this is a beautiful dog. He has a beautiful top line, tail set, carriage, which the breed needed at the time. If you don't have an outline on the go around, you have nothing. And but there were things I would tweak about him. I wanted him to be just a little more boxery, a little more. So I found a female with a lady, and I said, really like that bitch. I think she'd work nice, bred to this dog I'm specialing. And that's where high-tech's arbitrage came along. So.
Right. Well, I know that you.
And then again, we're back to the high-tech. So then you know the rest of the story. You see, you know the rest of the story of me and the high-tech boxer kennels. And after a while, I basically made the breeding that made Biff, but I didn't get the credit for it. He doesn't have me down as breeder. And then I did the breeding that made Aristocrat. I worked with the lady that had the dam of that. And then the same thing with Johnny J. And we can get to those two. But the long stance of the client and the handlers and the breeders is loyalty. We've been together since the 80s, and it's loyalty. You pick, and I always say to people getting into the game, pick a handler and stick with them. Pick who you're going to work with and stick with them. You don't want to be changing handlers, like you change your underwear. You want to pick a handler and stick with them. And in the long run, you know what? You're going to be a force to be accounted for. Even in my other breeds, I said, pick your jockey and stay with it. Because that's what you're establishing out there to all the judges is, oh, you know what? This is my handler. These are my dogs. And it doesn't matter, obviously I show other people's dogs too, for many people. But you know what? Everybody, the breeders around the ring say, oh, that's a so-and-so dog with Kim. Oh, that's Kim and so-and-so's, boxer kennel. But you have to pick your handler and stick with them. And, in the long run, you're going to get somewhere because it's very hard to get priority and seniority jumping handlers.
Right. True. Kim, I actually want to ask you a question based on what you just said. What makes, and you mentioned already, there is, you got to stick with it. You got to actually weather the storm. You got to have loyalty on both ends. These are some of the things that you said. But what does a handler bring into that relationship, and what does the owner bring into that relationship, that successful relationship? And I want to actually premise this with give it an additional bit context. There was a time, and you mentioned a few dogs there, Biff, Johnny J. There was a time when you actually won everything that was possible, right? You won a lot of awards during that time. You actually right there on the top. You got the best awards there. So obviously there was something that was working between you and the breeders, right? So what was that thing? If you would actually, if people want to replicate that kind of an association in their showing with the handler, what would that be?
I think what makes us successful is I listen to them, they listen to me. I'm out at the shows every weekend. I see what's out there. I know the competition. I know a good dog from a bad dog. I know where we need to improve, where we need to change, or stay the same. But yes, for generations, and we're talking, 6 generations. I'm showing down line to the bitch that I just put the last best in show on. But we hear each other, we listen, and what really brings us together is the passion and the joy of the breed. That's what we love. We love the game. We love the breed. And we both have the same goals, is to present beautiful dogs and enjoy it. And we do. We enjoy each other. We enjoy the boxers. We appreciate other people's breeding programs. And I think that's what makes us successful. You can't be blind and think you have the only good dogs out there.
Right. Sure.
They think I have the only good handler out there. That I'll tell you. That I can tell you. So that's probably what makes it fly.
Okay.
But honestly, they think I'm the best, and they'll tell you that. I'm not just tooting my own horn, but and that's really what makes it. What makes us shine as a team.
Wonderful.
Is we believe in each other's thoughts and beliefs on the breed and the health testing, and as far as breeding dogs and placing dogs, and not, the boxer breed is a breed that's a family dog. And that's what's paramount to Tina and myself, is that all the dogs we breed have loving homes, sleeping on people's beds, sleeping on people's couches. That's first and foremost for us.
Right. Right. I want to actually, I want to ask you about the evaluation of puppies. Now you put on the hat of the handler.
Let me just interrupt for 1 second with the handler and the client relationship. And let me tell you, there's no doubt there's times when we talk and we think about things, and, they see it their way or I see it my way, but in the end, we see it the same way, because that's what makes us shine. We agree to always agree. Nobody ever wins. No, you know what I mean? Between our breeding dogs and showing dogs and stuff like that. It's not about, well, I said or you said. It's about, seeing it the same way, and that's what's important. You can't have a bad attitude with your clients, and the same thing with them with their handler. And at the end of the day, what we see is a great team, and that's what makes you shine and be a force to contend with in the boxer world.
Right. True.
So anybody new getting in the breed, you go out there, you pick your handler, you work through it through thick and thin, and keep in mind it's a hobby, so it's not that thick. But you always agree to agree, and we do. And like I said, win or lose, we go to shows. There's times we go to Westminster every year, ABC every year. And the first thing we do, at the end of that show week, if we had a great week, hooray, we're just going to sit on that hill and enjoy it. And if we don't, we think about next year. We think about the plan for next year, what we're going to do with the breeding program for next year, so we can come back here and be more competitive. Right. But we've been competitive for so many years there. It's been a lot of fun. But sometimes, you have some down days. But anyway, getting back to your next question.
Yeah. So my question was this. So as a handler, you are evaluating a puppy for show potential. You're making an assessment. This is going to make it. This could make it. This will not make it. Now, I want to actually ask you, in doing this, what is that you're looking for? Are you placing more importance for the form, the construction, or is it the temperament? Because a dog with temperament is, there are three things in a dog. So balance, type, and temperament. So temperament is how the dog showcases itself in the ring, or it actually plays a major role there. So as a handler, would you lean more towards a dog which is average but has got outstanding temperament versus a dog which has got beautiful form but with an ordinary temperament? How would you place them?
And what age are we looking at these puppies?
I would say 8 weeks.
You know what? No matter what, when I look at a litter of puppies, I want to see those puppies walking on their own. I want to see that outline, that carriage. Anybody can rack up a dog, but can they carry that carriage on the go around? Most important thing is top line and tail set and outline. And of course, they need to be obviously a very typey boxer to, win out there in the ring. But that's the first thing I look at is top line, tail set, and carriage. And as far as temperament at 8 weeks, like I said, we can bring that along. We can nurture that puppy. We can grow that puppy out, as Tina Truesdale says. We got to grow him out. We got to see what we have here. But you really can't get rid of your puppies right away. I mean, obviously, it's nice to be able to thin the herd by saying, well, I have whites, or I have no testicle, or I have, obviously plains are beautiful, but they're not going to be your next great one. They're not going to shine. I mean, they will in the breed ring, as far as in the classes, but to show a plain special, that's a hard road. That really is. But when I look out there, like I said, we're going to thin the herd by saying they're white, or maybe they have no testicles. But, I try to find, when I'm evaluating that litter, the typiest boxer with the most beautiful outline. And like I said, we can nurture that temperament at 8 weeks. We can nurture that temperament at 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. 6 months is getting a little close, but I always go for structure. Structure first.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I want to actually, I've actually researched boxers, but you actually live them. You live them, in close quarters. I've seen research boxers from, I would say, let's look at the timeline from 80s till now. You've actually shown dogs from 80s till now.
Yes.
Do you see that there is a style shift? Do you see boxers from the 80s? Were they any different? Because, and the reason I ask you this question is, people associate this as a golden period. And they say 50s to the 80s was a golden period, and 80s to the now, not so much. What is your take on that?
I don't think so. I think that we've had a lot of beautiful, good boxers from the 80s till now. Even beyond best, obviously on the breed level, the boxer is always a contender in the working group. Always. Every other year, a boxer is pretty close to being #1 working dog. So I think that we're pretty strong. And as far as in the classes, when I go to the Boxer National, I see beautiful quality, a lot of good dogs, a lot of good kennels that are producing some beautiful dogs. The 80s had good, 70s. To me, the 70s, the 60s, and the 70s was a totally different look and a little bit of a different shift. But I think we're doing well since the 80s. I really do. I think we have some good breeders. Sometimes I say to myself, what standard is that person reading? I see some stuff that comes out that, I don't want to see long noses. I don't want to see clunky dogs. I want to see square, medium-sized dogs with beautiful chiseling and beautiful outlines. When I go look at those Danny Quest statues, though they're a little exaggerated, that's what I want to see. I want to see that outline. I want to see the nape to the neck. I want to see the upper arm. I want to see the underline. I want to see the bend of stifle. I want nice butt beyond the tail and that nape to the neck, the nape. I don't want a stovepipe. I want that nice arch, that nice crest. And of course, everybody wants the Munich silhouette and that chisel on the head. But that's what I want to see. And I believe we are still seeing a lot of good outlines and boxers.
Right. So Kim, I want to actually ask you specifically about the construction that you said.
Yes.
The Munich silhouette, the nape of, the nape of the neck, beautiful tail, square dogs, good top lines, tail sets, good rumps. I think we have them in American boxers. The present day, at least for the most part, we actually have them. But what I see as a common thing is the fronts. People always talk about the fronts. The fronts have not come along. The fronts have not gone that distance. We still see straight fronts, long bodies, dogs that move well. They are very attractive, but they don't actually have good fronts. Why do you think that has not improved in the breed, in your eyes?
To be honest with you, I'll tell you a good portion of that is that people are so concerned with square, compact. They go beyond the box instead of standing on the box. And I think what happens when you get that compact, you get that straight in front and you get that straight in rear. And you forget that we are square from the tip of the prosternum to the tip of the buttocks, which leaves a little more in between. And you need that upper arm. I was taught from my grandfather, the engine to the boxer is the front end, the shoulder, the layback of shoulder, the upper arm, that nice curve to the upper arm instead of straight. And I see people say, "Oh my God, look at the feet. There's no feet." Yeah, well, you look at those no feet, especially in the dog world. You look at those feet, they're like this tight, that are no feet, and draw a straight line from the tip of the toes right up the ear. Straight. We do have a foot in our breed, and we do have a pastern. When you're getting this, and those tight feet, you are getting straight fronts. People are not focusing on the engine of the breed, which is the front. And everything else falls into place. Your neck set falls into place. Your top line falls into place. But if you don't have a good return of upper arm, lay back a shoulder, you're not going to get the nape of the neck. You're not going to get the fore chest. And you're not going to get the reach off the front. And then, you want that bend to stifle and you want that angulation to have that drive to go with the reach in the front.
Right.
And, like I say to people, because you take the Mercedes emblem off the Mercedes car and put it on the Ford, it doesn't make it the same chassis. The boxer has a very distinguished standard. There's a lot in that standard to put together that breed type.
Right.
It's very clear. It's not a small, no detailed standard. And you know what? You need to read it and to breed good dogs and get that vision in your mind of what a good boxer is. And like I always say, go back to your Danny Quest statues. I have a Danny Quest statue back there. But, look at those when you're at ABC, those outlines. That to me says boxer. And we're losing it because people, I think, are so concerned with square, straight. And, we're losing our outlines and some important parts of the breed, which is your upper arm and your bend to stifle. That's what differs us from the Doberman.
Right.
And the nape to the neck.
Right.
And a lot of other breeds. You take that, like I said, you take that Mercedes emblem and put it on the Ford. That doesn't make it the boxer chassis. It's not a Mercedes when you just put the emblem on the Ford. So you can see the difference. But we have a very specific standard. We do, which is great because it preserves the breed, in my opinion.
True.
And somebody has to gatekeep it. You have to gatekeep it.
True. Agreed. Kim, and again, in terms of what you said, in terms of what you said, the way you look at a dog, the way you analyze the dog, the way you actually break it down for people in your eyes, this is how you analyze the dog. But I've also seen that there's a lot of handlers who transition and make very good judges. What is the reason why handlers make good judges?
I mean, are you talking specifically a boxer handler or an all breed handler?
It could be, if you can take either one, you could take your pick.
I mean, I think that you need to be a really good boxer judge. I think you've had to have shown the breed. I think you've had to have bred the breed. And I get people who come up that are learning boxers and they're like, oh my God, the head. Oh, I can't get it. And I have worked with them on the head. It's a very detailed standard on the head. I don't think it's not a generic piece of the dog. So I don't know that every handler that hasn't been in our breed is going to look for all those hallmarks and nuances of the breed. I think overall outline, yes, I think there's a lot of handlers out there that are good overall structure. Whether they could come in and judge 500 boxers at the national, I think that you need some fine tuning to do that in our breed. And I also, would hesitate unless it's a all-around judge that's been around a long time, like an Annie Clark or Mike Billings, but they also had their hands on boxers in their day. But I think in a breed like boxers, I think you've had to have hands-on to make a good judge in our breed, to be honest. Because otherwise you're going to be generic.
Right. Got it.
In my opinion.
I think that says a lot for sure. Kim, we have a lot of people that are watching this interview as we speak, and I'm actually going to, I know I didn't actually tell you this, but I'm going to actually ask them to put their questions in the comments. So okay. I can actually ask them those questions. While we're waiting for that, I want to move on to my next question. I know this is COVID times. There's not too many shows now, but typically this is not the case with you. I'm sure you would be out at the shows maybe 40 to 45 weekends in a year. And during those times, if you're campaigning a dog for the top honors, maybe like a top 20 or something, this dog would be with you on the road for 40, 42 weeks. He'll be traveling with you. Now, my question is, how do you maintain the condition of a dog while you're campaigning a dog? How easy or difficult is it?
I think that good food, obviously, exercise, making the dog, enjoying the dog, letting the dog have fun. Because I think if you just road work them too much, drill them too much, they lose that fire in the ring. And it's very important, especially in a boxer. A boxer should have that. They're not a Doberman. They should not be a Doberman. That's what we enjoy about them, is that bubbly personality, that snorting around, that, ha, 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 laughing at you, smiling with you. I think you have to keep the spirit. Besides food, exercise, I think it's most important that you keep them having a fun time in the ring and enjoying the game. When it's off time, they need their time in the house. They need their time running with other dogs. You bike them, you treadmill them, all that good stuff. But I think you need to keep in their mind that they're still having fun and, joyful in the ring. There's nothing more boring to a boxer that is too mechanical. I think that the boxer is more of the clown of the working group. You want a mechanical dog. Your Dobermans are, 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. But I like to see the spirit of the boxer kept. And that's making them your buddy, having a great time with them, doing something more than just training for the ring is important. So they always have that love of the ring. Instead of people saying, oh, that dog is not happy. It's not having fun. It's time to go home. I know when I showed Biff and Johnny, they loved every minute of the ring. and I mean, they were out there for a long, a nice stretch, but till the day they retired, they loved it. And I think that's important, that you give them a well-rounded lifestyle, so
Right.
that people always say, I love to watch that dog with you show, and not, when is it going to go home? Always keep that spirit alive in the
Right.
boxer.
Right. Um, so this is again, this is a question I just had to ask you. Um, some dogs are shown, um, you know, year after year after year. You could special them for many, many years. But some dogs, you have to say, you know what, this is where you got to stop. You got to go at the top, go out at the top. You should not take them anymore. This is the end for this dog. Is it a very difficult decision to make? And how is that decision made?
I mean, I think it's a decision that you make with the owners. And I mean, obviously, if it's a bitch, because they have to be bred, you have to put a time limit on it. It's always hard to retire a dog, and as a handler for people, to let go of that winning. It's hard to say, oh, I'm used to being on top of the hill. But I mean, I've learned together with, Tina and Bill, they'd always say, well, it's time to get on to the next one. We've got to show the dog world that we can make another really good one. And we've been fortunate that we've, always had something to follow up with. But I think that, you need to know when to say when. And that's not a sad day. It's not a sad day. It is, when you've had a dog that long and, you might never see it again and you have to let it go home. It is a sad day. It's, it breaks your heart. It makes me want to cry all over again to see some of the dogs that went home. But, you want to go out on top. And you want the dog to be remembered as a really great dog, and you don't want the fancy to be tired of it. But it is hard to let the dog go home. A dog that you've had a bond with for 2 or 3 years, it's hard to let go of that beyond the winning. It's the companionship, a lot of the highlights, in the career, the fun of it, the ups, the downs that keep you coming back for more in the product you believe in. So, it is hard. It's hard to let go. It's hard to let go of the dog, never, and also being in the spotlight for people. It's hard. I can understand that. But I hate sending them home. I do. I've had some great buddies and pals of the ones I've kept, and that's hard.
Right.
It is hard.
Yeah, true. Kim, I want to actually talk about ABC. The hunting ground for you, the place where you actually got a lot of success. It's also a place where any boxer lover would want to go there eventually. Well, I want to go there someday. And I think anybody watching this interview around the world who have not seen that interview, who have not seen the ABC Nationals, I'm sure they all are dying to go to the ABC when things get normal and COVID is gone and its history behind us. Now, for the benefit of those viewers that are watching it, in terms of your mental preparation for the Nationals, is it any different from the other shows? Do you actually prepare for the Nationals, or for the benefit of somebody who is actually going to come to the Nationals? Would you say it's a different mindset of preparation that you have to be prepared for? And the reason I say this is because in a normal show, you get about 50, 60, 70 dogs. In the Nationals, you get 600 dogs, right? You actually get a lot of dogs there. So is there from a mental preparation perspective, it's any different?
Yes. I mean, I prepare for every dog show really hard, without a doubt. But the Boxer National, you are coming in there, and of course, it's going to be experts in the breed. So you really are tweaking your best product to the top and bringing, like I said, after the National's over, my clients and I get together. We all get together, whichever client I'm showing for, and say, we got to get ready for next year. We've got to put that product out there. We've got to gear up because we want to come back here the very best. And that's what drives, I mean, good breeders and good handlers is going to the national, going to Westminster. There were a couple of other shows, but you want to breed the very best to take there and gear them up to shine at that show.
Right.
And have them on deck, the feet, the ears, everything, because that's where it counts. You have to have every little attribute of the dog ready for the boxer world. Plus, you're presenting it to all your peers. You want to bring your best stock there, and people say, oh, I really like what you have. And as a handler, we all want to win, so we gear up our best dogs to go there and gear our clients and guide our clients to get that winner at the national.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
One other thing, back to retiring dogs. You know, you've spent all this time with that dog. He's perfectly trained and everything is great and you're in sync and you're a perfect team out there in the ring. And when that ends, it begins all over again with starting with something new, which brings a lot of joy and a lot of intrigue and interest in starting something new and bringing it to fruition and making it shine. So that also enters into retiring. I mean, here you finally got the dog trained and you're on top of the hill and now it's time to say goodbye. And you know, sometimes it's time to say goodbye and you're looking forward to that building of the next dog, which takes time. It takes, 3 to 6 months of being out there in the ring to get that teamwork together. Right. So there's two sides, to that little ending of a career of a great dog.
Right. Now, Kim, my next question is not going to be, it's a question in a lot of owner handlers' mind. And this is a question that is also, I want to actually ask you, let me frame this for you. They say it's very difficult. I'm going to put a statement here. So if I'm going to go to a show and there are some big name handlers out there that are showing, I'm an owner handler, an unknown owner handler, I don't even stand a chance. How do you look at that statement?
That's not true. You stand a chance. If you have a beautiful dog and you believe in your beautiful dog, you have a chance. And there's many times I'm in the class with somebody that's an owner handler and I'm like, you've got a really good dog. You got to do this to it. You got to do that to it. And the next thing you know, the next day they're going first and I'm going second. You just have to go in there ready to perform against all the top handlers. And the judges are evaluating your dog. Obviously, when it comes down to a little, tiebreaker, you're going to have to pick up your game. As an owner handler, you're going to have to pick up your game. But yes, you can win as an owner handler and compete against people like me.
Okay.
With good confidence. With good confidence. You're going to go in there and you're going to have a good time and you're going to try to emulate and copy what you see the handlers do. And then you put that together with your beautiful dog and there you are, ready to win.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to steal a few more tips from you then. In terms of grooming the dog to perfection, grooming the dog to success in the ring. Well, I know that you can't teach somebody to groom the dog in this interview, but you can actually tell them what are the supplies they could have in their tack box. So my question to you, Kim, is what are the must-have grooming supplies in Kim's tack box?
Okay, first and foremost, when I leave my nail grinder behind, I am totally lost. How can a boxer handler go to the dog show without their nail grinder? I mean, that's important. Very important. And then we're going to get into some important things of getting your dog ready when it's a puppy for the ring. We'll get to that too. But you got to have your nail grinder. You have to have your trimmer, chalk, self-rinse, then chalk, a little mascara just to pop up the black on the face. We don't want to overcolor them. But we want to give them, nice pigment. Just a little. I mean, we're breeding that back into the breed, those nice dark masks. What else? Chalk mate to make the chalk stick is good to have. But definitely I want to see a dog who has short nails. I want to see all the trimming. I don't want to see hair hanging out anywhere. I want the ears trimmed. I want the underline trimmed. I want the back trimmed. I do not want to see a little duck's ass, little tail, a little hairy tail on, little curly tail on the hair, hairy curl on the tail. I want that trimmed. That's very important. Very neat, tidy, clean dogs. Always a bathed dog. A fresh bathed dog has a shiny coat. You're getting ready to go to the dog shows, gearing up your dog. You make sure that dog gets a bath every week so the tight is nice and the coat is nice and short and tight and shiny.
Okay. All right. That is excellent. Now, you observe
teeth,
a lot of.
Make sure your teeth are clean. Make sure the dog's teeth are clean. That's important. Bring your little toothbrush.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I think that's a point which gets missed out a lot, right? How clean the teeth is.
And clean the ears, Q-tips. Make sure your dog's ears are clean.
Okay. All right. Observing owner handlers, Kim. So when you observe owner handlers, you might actually, certain things might strike out. Like you just said, day one, you saw this person making some common mistakes. You gave them some inputs, and day two, this person did better. But you see a lot of owner handlers, and you might actually, you might be willing to do that, but you might not have the time. And I wanted to actually ask you this question here. With that said, what are the common handling do's and don'ts according to you?
As a handler or an owner handler? How about we go as an owner handler?
Sure.
Very important that you're on time to the ring. Very important that you're listening to the judge. I cannot stand when I hear somebody say, so now what did you say? No, the judge just told the entire ring. You need to listen. And that aggravates a lot of judges when you don't, when somebody needs a personal tutorial on what they want to do. You really need to be in tune to the judge and not late to the ring. Especially like with the little breeds, these people, they're never on time. They're pulling them out of the crate. They're switching dogs. Judges really don't appreciate that. So as an owner handler, you want to be on time. I would get there 2 hours before. So you get settled, you find your spot, you get up to the ring 20 minutes early, make sure you have your bait, your wet coat, your water bottle, and that you're up there with your dog's coat on and keeping him relaxed. And there's no panting. You don't want a dog in the ring. There's nothing uglier than a boxer who's panting. It loses the beautiful expression. But to be on time, to listen to the judge, to give your space in the ring. If there's a handler in front of you, make sure you give space to the handler. Make sure you keep up the speed. If you can't keep up the speed, then ask to go to the back. If you're new, it's nothing wrong with saying to the judge, I'm new here. Can I go to the back? This way you have 3 or 4 or 5 dogs ahead of you, and you can watch the dog ahead before it's your turn. But you should also be doing that when you get up to the ring early. From the start of the judging, you watch the judge and see what they're asking for. So that this way you do look professional and you do look competitive and your dog will be ready. And if you throw bait, you throw in front of yourself and pick it up. Be very careful throwing bait, because that's the first thing some of these new judges are, you threw bait. And the next thing you know, the new owner handler's like, I just got in trouble. So, keep your bait to yourself. If you throw if you drop the bait, you pick it right up and let the judge know you're picking it up. Don't be, shocked because you dropped the bait. Just pick it right back up, take your little spanking, but hopefully, they won't take it as something bad if you just drop it and pick it up. But to be on par with the rest of the handlers in the ring, because you want to win and you want to stand up and be accounted for. You don't want to put your dog at a discredit because you're not focusing or not paying attention. And you know, when you're up on deck, if you want to say to the judge, can you just tell me again? Sure. But you don't want to stop in the middle of the ring and not know where you're going. Always pay attention. Be listening to the judge, watching the judge's, you know, lips, so you know where you're going.
Wonderful.
Very important. Okay. And if you have any questions, you know, as an owner handler, and there's a handler there, just say, hey, and I help a lot of people. You know, can you give me a couple of pointers? Can you watch me today? Or can I bring my dog over? I have people bring their dog over, and I'm like, let me show you what I would do. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to get the most out of your dog. And if they're, especially if I'm there, I'm happy to help anybody at any time. I might be busy. You might have to wait a little, but I will certainly get to you.
Wonderful. Kim, in terms of you being an all-breed handler, do you find that certain breeds are easier to breed, sorry, let me recant. As an all-breed handler, do you find certain breeds are easier to show than the others?
Temperament-wise, yes. Yes. I mean, boxers, let me tell you, are not an easy breed to show. I mean, many times when I have 2 or 3 class winners, I got to think fast when I'm in winners, knowing I've just won 2 classes. Now I might win a 3rd. I've got to think of those people that know how to present a boxer. A boxer is not a breed that you can just pass to anybody. So if you can show a boxer, you can just show about any breed, honest to goodness. To get into those little nuances of the boxer brain. And you can show, in my opinion, you can show about anything, because boxers are not easy. And I mean, I'll have somebody hold the dog outside the ring, and I'll have to say to them, you need to be, you know, stand up straight and be serious with them, because they're going to walk all over you. Like the next thing you know, they're like jumping over the person's head that's holding them. Because boxers, you give them an inch, they take a foot. But you definitely, if you can show boxers, you can show any breed. Once you nail that breed down, everything else is easy. But their boxers are a little difficult. You know, they're Weisenheimers. They, you know, think they can get one up on you. And I mean, even I've taken dogs in for other people, and everything's going along smooth, and I set the dog up, and the next thing the dog looks up the lead and goes, oh, that's not my regular handler. You know, sometimes it takes them a minute or 2 to figure it out, but then all of a sudden they're either trying to take advantage of you or strong arm you. So, you know, like I said, if you can show a boxer, you can pretty much show anything.
Right. I'm actually going to ask you, we are almost towards the end of the interview. I have a few questions left.
Sure.
Now, for those ones that want to ask him those questions, please put them in your comments, because this is your opportunity.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Now, having gotten all your wins over the years, Kim, what has been your most memorable moment while showing boxes? You can, if there's more than one, you can say more than one. We have time. It's up to you.
I'm going to probably say my most memorable win was winning the working group at the Garden with arbitrage, for a lot of reasons, because, you know, I made that little boy, and he was the puppy that I picked. And of course, there were 6 or 7 puppies and 6 champions, and everybody's like, no, this one looks nice. Yeah, there were a lot of nice ones, but I was like, no, something about this one. I mean, I just loved him, and to bring him to that level was something else. You know, it was just the pinnacle. And then he won the breed at the he won the breed at the National. And the same year he won the breed at the National, his son was winner's dog, and he won the stud dog class. And that was a great feat. And probably showing 4 generations of stud dog class winners at the at the Boxer National was a highlight, a big highlight in my career. And everything about Johnny J.
Okay.
Is just a highlight in my career. And just to be on the funny side, I just remember him. He went winner's dog at the National from the 9 to 12 puppy class. And just on a funny side, I just remember Gary, or I shouldn't say what handler, a top handler, I'll just say Gary Steele said, well, I wouldn't want to see that dog in a year. He won't be able to get his head through the gate. Well, he got his head through the gate to win 3 national specialties. And the day after he finished, the owners are like, Tina and Bill are like, well, move him up. I said, move him up from the 9 to 12 puppy class? Are you kidding me? And I moved him up. On our way home, everybody went to Bucks County, the Big Eastern Boxer Club. And here's this 9 to 12-month-old puppy that won the breed as a move up over the dog that just won the breed at the National. That was just a memorable day, a creation, something that you saw from the time he wasn't hard to pick out, picking out dogs in the litter. He was my pick a litter. He came from a litter of 1 plain and 1 white. I was real stellar in that picking, huh? He was the only one to pick. But anyway, those are things, little memorable things that people might enjoy hearing.
Right. Oh, absolutely. That was a hard decision for sure. No, jokes apart.
Exactly. I'm not going to take the full credit on that one. There we go, picking out a white or a plain fawn. Well, which one's the pick?
Right.
But anyway.
I've got a question for you from one of the viewers.
Sure.
So I'm going to put it up on the screen, Kim. So via, I'm going to mispronounce the last name, so I'm not going to go there. At what age do you feel you could recognize a good show puppy in a litter?
I like to look at them at 8 weeks, but obviously you can't keep them all. Sometimes you've got to keep 2 till they're 3 or 4 months old. But I never like to let anything slip out of my hands. So you got to evaluate, pick the 2, and raise them up well, and then look at them again like at 3 or 4 months old. You have to watch them. You got to nurture them. You got to nurture them.
Okay.
You really do. You can try it. Pick one at 8 weeks. I would go with 2 to be safe. And by the time they're 3 or 4 months old, look at them again. I like to see them every couple of weeks. And probably by the time they're 3 or 4 months old, you have a better eye on what you're going to have.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Kim. I've got another one here for you from Bobby. So Bobby says, what made Johnny J such a standout as far as his temperament went?
He just thought he owned the ring. He just had that little shit-kicking temperament. He just thought he owned the ring. That was him. And he would be, you could hear him coming down the street. It's so funny with the boxers. A friend of mine said, I travel with the boxers and the Dobermans. The Dobermans will sleep all day. The boxers, the minute the sunlight comes up there, they're looking to get up and get going. And that was him. He was always like, so what's next? He just had that attitude. And you have to nurture that. You can't knock that. You have to channel that and nurture that. Not try to make them someone they're not. The breed is a happy-go-lucky dog with a lot of spirit. And you want that. That's what makes us like them. Right. When we're up, they're up. When we're quiet, they're quiet. When we're up and about, they'll be up and about. But if we're having a bad day or a quiet day, they'll just be quiet and snuggle up with us. Mm-hmm. But, he just had that temperament from day one.
Okay. Got another one for you, Kim. So I'm sorry, I don't have the name of this person.
That's okay.
But the question is, could you share us your advice to show train boxer puppies?
Okay. Most important thing we're going to start with are those toenails in the box. Because pretty feet, we got to keep those toenails back. And the ears need to go up. Those are the first 2 things we start with. And we put them on the table every couple of days. Stroke the top line, tickle the tail, touch each leg front and back. every couple of days. And then you take that little work once they get used to being on a lead, and you gently train them on the lead to go with you. The lead is a guide, not to string them up. You want them tootle-toddling right next to you on the street and having fun. But training them on the table when they're little, but always making it fun. Don't knock the spirit out of them.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Kim.
And we start when they're little, from 8 weeks until we get them into 6 months. And we don't, as they get bigger, we don't overdo it. We take them to handling class, and then we just go for fun. Once we know they're trained, we leave the rest of it for the show ring so that they have fun. But if you overdo it, then you lose their spirit.
Got it. So Kim, in your journey so far, I know we didn't talk about a few dogs, but again, this question is just for you to talk about those few dogs.
That's fine.
Could you recount any of your favorite dogs over the years that you've shown? And I don't want you to just stop there, because it doesn't have to stop with just the dogs that you've shown, but the dogs that you've shown against. Any dogs that that come to your mind?
Okay, that I like to show against, or that I enjoyed.
Both, actually both. The ones that you've shown and the ones that you have shown against.
So you want to know my favorites of the ones I've shown and the ones I've shown against? Okay. Sure. I, of course, loved Biff and Aristocrat and Johnny and Basic Edition. And Surrey's always standing out in my mind. Molly was lovely. And then dogs to compete against. I enjoyed competing against Ellie, who was a beautiful boxer bitch. Of course, Futurian. Spellcaster. We had a couple of nice battles in our day, and they were both beautiful dogs. And of course, Loki was downline from some of our stock, so he was a beautiful dog. I've enjoyed competing against Wilma for the last 2 years. Trying to think of who else. Stardust. That was a fun one. I had Stardust. I had Biff, and Stardust was out there, and that was father and daughter, and those were some fun battles and beautiful dogs. And, we probably won 50-50, and that's okay. And that's a beautiful thing when there's more than one beautiful boxer out there, in my opinion. Trying to think of who else we've been against. Of course, we've been against Scarlett and Devlin, who are beautiful examples of the breed and did some wonderful winning. Any other thoughts want me to talk about in that area?
Well, I think I think you actually covered quite a bit of dogs there in terms of how they have been a part of your life, and why you remember them for when you competed against them. So I think. Oh
yeah, and I saw Scarlett when she was a tiny baby. I evaluated that litter for them, but another beauty of many of the dogs that I've competed against, they all go back to my creations. Scarlett goes back to high tech. Ellie went back to high tech. Stardust went back to high tech. Loki went back to high tech. So, when you, and even Devlin goes back to high tech. When you compete against those dogs in your competition, if you didn't win, you didn't lose, because they're still, part of you. They're a part of me. They're a part of my existence in boxers. So for me to say that something wasn't good about them or bad about them, and especially with Stardust, we've got father and daughter out there, and here I'm the one telling them breed to arbitrage. So the next thing you know, here's Arbitrage competing against his daughter. What monster did I create? But it's a beautiful thing,
Right. You actually recounted a funny story with Arbitrage. No, with Biff in the 9 to 12 months. With Biff and Gary Steele. I've got another one question here from a viewer. Any funny stories in the ring you want to recount?
Oh, sure. And you can watch it live. So we came to the National, and John Conley was doing the breed at the National, and I was showing Johnny at the National, and I think it was Johnny's first National, if I'm correct. So we have Johnny in the ring, and we bring back Arbitrage, which is Biff, and we have we're in the breed ring, and Tina says, "Stay on the young one. We got to move on." And I brought Biff back because I knew John liked him, and he won the veterans class. And I thought, we might have a shot to win from the veterans class. She's like, no, go on the young one. So I go on the young one, and somebody else took in Arbitrage. And the next thing you know, we were like neck and neck near each other, and there was just this loud roar. Like Biff was like, "What the heck are you doing on that dog? You're supposed to be on me." And it was like, I was their person. Biff is like, "You're my person." And Johnny's like, "No, she's my person." And they were going in the ring just over me. It was clearly over me. It was too funny. And so that was a funny experience. I mean, for the whole dog world to see. Biff is like standing his ground saying, "I'm still around now." And of course, Johnny J won the breed. Right. But that was a funny experience.
Right. I've got a penultimate question for you, the one before the last. In terms of advice that you want to give to new handlers who want to emulate your success, if you were to give them maybe let's go with the top 3 tips. What would those tips be?
Well, we're going to start with a good boxer, beautiful boxer, and you're going to condition it well, and you're going to get in there and present it like a star.
Okay, that's the formula for success. And keep at it, and keep working it.
Yes, and believe in your product and enjoy every minute you go in the ring. I know people get nervous, but you know what? Just go in there and have fun and enjoy what you're presenting. And when it's more enjoyable for the new handler and somebody that's becoming a handler or owner handler, but just go in there and have fun. And it's a beautiful chemistry when you see a dog and their handler working their magic.
Okay, wonderful. So Kim, I know in conversations that we've had, getting to this interview, you actually have said something which resonated a lot with me. You said dogs are a part of your life, but they're not all of it. You got to compartmentalize your life. There are other things in your life that you have to focus on. But now my question is going to be more on dogs. We know your journey so far. What is ahead of Kim?
Oh, in the future?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm not going to start judging anytime soon. Because people always say to me, "Do you want to judge? Do you want to judge my show?" I'm like, no, I don't want to judge your show. I want to win your show. I'm all about breeding and presenting dogs, and I love the battle. I love the competition. I love that. So I don't see judging anytime in my near future. I see some more accomplishments with my boxers, and presenting more beautiful boxers for people that love boxers and are as passionate as I am. And that's one thing I do enjoy, is going to the National and reconnecting with my friends. That's the one thing about COVID that's really hurting us, is you look forward to going to, say, Ohio or Kentucky, because you see certain people, that you only see once or twice a year, and we haven't had that opportunity. And I love to, when I have time, sit with boxer people. I enjoy it. I mean, and of the breeds that I specialize in, I love going to the Nationals, watching all the dogs in the ring, getting my catalog, seeing who has what. I enjoy that. That's what I enjoy. So you're going to see me out there, bringing out some new stock, of course, from time to time, and presenting beautiful dogs and making the most of them. And hopefully I'll get to meet you at some point in person. And
Right.
we'll see you and your boy and see how you're presenting him and fine tune your presentation.
Okay, for sure. I would look forward to that.
And does anybody have any other questions that I can share or?
Well, I think people, I think you've given a bit of everything here. So I think the best thing about this interview so far is there's something for everybody.
Yes.
Even you actually touched upon a lot of different things. You've shared some valuable perspectives right from your start. What makes you tick? What are the things that you look for in a puppy? What is the relationship between the owner and the handler? How do you train the puppy? How do you evaluate the puppy? A lot of things, a lot of topics that you covered. And again, this interview is going to be available on YouTube for people to watch it, to reference it. It's going to be a permanent record. So I think, yes, I think we've actually done a complete circle with this interview. And of course, if we get a lot of questions, and if people ask you to come back again, Kim, I'm going to reach out to you and say, Kim, can you come back and do another one?
Sure.
If you have the time, and if you you can definitely, you're welcome to come back and do another one.
I can't believe I had the time and I was getting all excited. This is my big day. This is like I'm going to Westminster, going to do this big interview. But another thing I want to point out to people is always keep your mind open. Keep an open mind and be positive and be happy. Don't be negative, and take this as your hobby. For me, it's my career. But try to make friends, don't make enemies. Have a nice circle around you that's very positive, because you start getting ugly and or too competitive, and then it doesn't make it a happy place. And this is my happy place. This is one of the places I enjoy being, and I love every minute of it. I go to the dog show. I came back from the AKC show. I'm there to be at the dog show. I'm not there to go shopping. I'm not there to go play Disney World. I'm there to be there with my friends and meet and greet and reconnect and enjoy it and stay positive and make friends and relationships that are positive ones. Because, if you get down into that negative zone, it just doesn't do good for anybody. It's just not healthy, and it's not enjoyable. And we do boxers because we enjoy them and we enjoy presenting them. And I think we should always keep that in mind, to just love our breed and enjoy all the people around us who have the same passion and goals. And you know what? And then when you win, people, when somebody else wins, you're happy for them, and you want people to be happy for you when you win. But you have to keep that positive mode and vibe. That negative energy will get you nowhere, that toxic energy. And appreciate people's beautiful boxers. I always say I'm not the only one who breeds beautiful dogs. When people say, oh, can you teach me about this, or teach me about the boxer or the min pin or whatever breed, and you have to be able to recognize that there are other people that also have beautiful animals, even though, of course, deep down inside, let there be no doubt, I think mine are the best. No, but and you know what? You have to. You have to think you have the best if you're going to go out there and shine with them. You have to believe in them. And anyway, I look forward to connecting with anybody that has questions. You're welcome to private message me. And I'm at Biff's Gal at AOL. If it's any surprise to anybody who Biff was, the boxer in form and function. As he was coined, the boxer in form and function. You can find me at biffsgal at AOL.com or on Facebook Messenger.
Wonderful, Kim. On that note, I want to again thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share your journey. It was a slice, and thank you again.
Oh, you're very welcome. Have a happy New Year, everybody.
Everybody, Happy New Year.
Yes, bye-bye.